Hello. Oh, sorry, a little bit late, guys. Work, man, work. How's everyone doing? Hey, Eric, Bucko, Shadow, music, and afternoon. Let me get my Sky coverage up. Oh, yeah, good to see you guys. Good to see you. Happy weekend. Who's ready? Oh, that's not the chat box that I like to see, is it? Let's go to this one. That should be better. Put yourself out. I've got 4 there, haven't I? Why have I got 4 tyres showing? Bit of a rush, won't lie to you. Got your first Formula V win. Nice one, man. And you're off to work now. Happy days. Going to work on a high. That's what it's about. I didn't work too hard this morning. It's been a busy Friday. Lots to do. Meetings and stuff. So a couple of the last minute bits came in at the end of the day, which I still think I'll have to tie up actually after this. So yeah. But that's the beauty of kind of like my work and stuff. Ideally I'd like to not work after obviously clocking off time, but sometimes needs must. You have to pay the bills, don't you? I'm a quantity surveyor, Matt. So I work in construction. I look after we look after the budget basically and ensure that projects stay within budget. Pay subcontractors, value their works, sort the contracts out, deal with any disputes. All that jazz, basically. So, do you know what? I'm not even fussed about listening to Sky. There's not really much that they were saying earlier on that I have to pay too much attention to. Of course, qualifying tomorrow, but yes. Actually, the one thing I will do is see how wet it is. I think that's really what I want to see because the weather's been a little bit intermittent today, as it always is in the UK, guys. This weekend isn't looking too great, so I could have taken a sickie and been online this morning. I've told... If no one knew I did YouTube, maybe. But yeah, I can't get away with that. Everyone knows I do YouTube. So... Happy that Oscar is going again. Yeah, so it's a dry circuit at the moment. Well, obviously it's a dry circuit because the tyre choices indicate that. But we have everyone out on circuit barring Kevin Magnussen. And of course, if you missed FP1, guys, there was a lot of drivers. I think there was 6 rookie drivers out there. We had Ollie Behrman, Hadjar, a few others as well. I think there was 4 maybe. Can't remember off the top of my head who exactly was out there. So this is Perez's first laps, Magnussen's first laps when he eventually gets out there as well. That's it, Jack Doohan was out there. So Landon Norris topped the timing sheets on a set of soft tyres. I think Piastri was second. Yuki had his little off, didn't he, through Luffield, through turn 7. So, yeah. Not really too much to take from it. Of course, we'll probably get some quali runs at the end of this session where it always gets a bit spicy. Always gets interesting. Been lovely up in Notts. Well... Up north, haven't you? Hey, Si, how's it going? Interesting. Merc, Ferrari, Red Bull saved a set of softs. They'll probably use them at some point. The soft tyre isn't really a race tyre around here at Silverstone because of how high of a loaded circuit it is. So yeah, probably they might save them for quali, but I don't think they'll save them. They'll use them at some point. You'll probably see McLaren not use them in this session, or at least a practice session tomorrow. But look at that backup down into Val there, into turn 17. Very, very obviously Jack Doohan nearly had not a crash there, but he had a few issues there with drivers prepping their start laps. And of course we had Isaac Hadjar nearly collide with Lando, or Lando nearly collided with Hadjar, didn't he? So good for you about watching at 1 in the morning, no work. Your weekend's already started. Will Ricciardo be replaced by Lawson? Supposedly, that is the rumour. That is a very strong rumour. There's now a rumour floating about, which I haven't seen too much of, but supposedly it's a strong rumour that Daniel Ricciardo will be is in talks with Williams. Could be going to Williams, guys. So, yeah, we'll see. Ah, Matt. Yeah, there you go. I didn't even see that message. Yeah, that's the rumour at the moment. That came out last week. So, and I think that's because of Carlos is hanging out at the moment. There's now, I mean, Sky, interestingly, Jenson Button and Karun were talking about Carlos Sainz earlier, and interestingly, they were saying that, like, obviously they think he deserves to be in a top team, but potentially he could be in a Mercedes seat still. Like, it's a risk to go with Kimi Antonelli, which it is. I still think Kimi will be in that seat next year, but yeah, I don't know. I think Sainz is still... There's obviously things happening behind the scenes and conversations still happening, which is why Sainz hasn't signed anywhere. He's obviously got some offers, but maybe Mercedes are kind of dangling as I said, a carrot in front of him, or what's the saying? Like, they're dangling something in front of him and leaving him, like, hoping that he might get a seat next year. You can't like that rumour, yeah. Rooting for the Albon Sainz lineup at Williams. Yeah, I think if it's Sainz or Ricciardo, I think that's a good lineup anyway. It's a good comparison, and it'll be a good bit of competition for Ricciardo. It's definitely the right route for Williams. They need a more experienced driver rather than having the pay driver, the rookie in the car. They've got Albon, who's a steady Eddie and gets performances out of them. But look, you can't be having someone like Sargent and someone else like Latifi just bringing it up the rear all the time if you want to move forward as a team. Because Ricciardo and Sainz are experienced, they're knowledgeable, and they'll give so much more feedback in regards to the development of that car. People underestimate that element as well of a driver. And if you've got a rookie, someone who doesn't know necessarily, that they might be giving the incorrect feedback, and that sends them in the wrong direction. How much they value that driver's feedback, I don't know, but there's always that potential. I don't want to see Carlos in the Mercedes. I still think he deserves a top seat, but of course, there's limited positions now. Mert would only take Carlos if they put Antonelli in Williams, surely. Yeah, it depends. Yeah, it really does depend. I mean, I saw rumours that Sargent will be replaced for the remainder of the season. That's kind of gone quiet, but the word I heard was that, Sargent, after the summer break, is going to be released, and Kimi Antonelli could be going in for 6 months. So, hearing Logan talk about Monaco being the first time in the wet in a Formula car was flooring. Pains me as American. He's got to go. Yeah, look, I think if we had seen glimpses of performance, of speed, pace, like some good races, you could sit there and go, like Yuki, you could sit there and go, yeah, look, he could be polished. There's something there that warrants him retaining that seat for a year. And look, James Vowles was very kind in letting him have the seat for one more year, and he just hasn't improved at all. And look, I don't think you can do more than that. And they need to move him on. So if they want to move forward as they want to move forward as a team and move up the grid, of course, which they want to do. So yeah. But welcome everyone. This is the first live watch along of this British Grand Prix weekend. What a weekend it's going to be. I'm looking forward to it. Doing a live show tomorrow night in Milton Keynes, around the corner from Silverstone with Missed Apex, so that'll be fun. We've got, of course, qualifier FP3 and qualifying tomorrow, supposed rain, and then the race on Sunday. We know how juicy the races are here at Silverstone. But at the moment, Verstappen ahead of Hamilton. They've got a floor upgrade, I believe, this weekend. Mercedes have got some track-specific upgrades. The McLarens look good once again. So, yeah. There's hope just for some close racing and another cracking race, because the last few have been really good. Carlos in Indy 500. Don't think Merc sign until end of the year. Possibly. Yeah, kind of when he said Carlos and Mercedes. I think a lot of people would. Oh, hang on. Leclerc is saying, I really struggle in high speed. I don't know if you see how tricky the car is. Here in Logan's... no, Logie Bear. I won't be at the actual track. No, I won't be going to Silverstone this weekend. It's at a karting track down the road from Silverstone. About 20 minutes, I think, 30 minutes in Milton Keynes. So, yeah, looking forward to it. We've got, I don't know how many people have signed up for it. I think there's over 50 odd people, around 50 people. It's quite an intimate setting. It's not the largest of settings, but yeah, the Miss Apex crew are starting to do some more live shows, and if we get people turn up to them, then we'll do more, and we'll do more venues as demand increases. So, yeah. Could Carlos go to Red Bull if they take Checo's contract? If they, I think that ship sailed. I don't think that's going to happen anytime soon. Christian Horner said earlier, actually, Martin Brundle was quite upfront, and I can't remember exactly what question he asked, but Christian Horner went, "Well, that's a blunt question." But yeah, they said we would have hoped that his performance, we would have hoped that the new contract would have increased his performances. So, yeah. I mean, supposedly the deal, he let slip a little while back that it's a 1 + 1 year deal. It's not just a flat 2-year contract. So they do have the option at the end of next year to let him go. I'm sure there's always clauses in contracts that if you're not reaching a certain performance, like the team can take a view to let you go free of charge anyway. So we'll see. But I think Karun Chandhook said it. He said, I think Perez is there to keep Verstappen happy. Like, he's there to keep Verstappen happy. And of course, there's still rumours that Verstappen could leave Red Bull. And to try and entice him that he's got a good relationship with someone he can comfortably beat, rather than bringing someone in like Carlos Sainz, who infamously their dads really don't get on, and Carlos Sainz would try and at least, I mean, you would expect Carlos Sainz to be a lot closer to Verstappen than Perez would, wouldn't you? And yeah, Max, as much as he's a great driver and has dominated his teammates, they don't want to have, potentially at this moment in time, a driver who can even get anywhere near Verstappen. So yeah. Do they regret signing him so early? I think that was what Brundle might have asked, actually. Something like that. As Verstappen's on the softs and he's now going fastest, so he's the only driver out there on the softs. So we'll see what lap time he sets as he comes through the last couple of corners. They could have put Checo in the ex-Alpha Tower. Yeah, I mean, look, Checo's been kept, I think, for 2 reasons. We've had this discussion a number of times in these streams. I think he's been kept for 2 reasons. 1, to keep Max happy, and 2, because he brings in a shed load of cash. He brings in a shed load of sponsorship money, and is one of the most popular drivers in the world. People underestimate how popular he is. So, yeah. But at the moment, drivers out there, mixture of medium and hard compound tyres. Stroll out there on the hard, so it's Bottas, Hulkenberg as well at the bottom, Sargent down there. Yeah, Max, the only driver out on the softs at the moment. I'm looking at the TV coverage, and it's a nice bone dry track. Been very intermittent weather this weekend. We'll see if we get that tomorrow. Forecast doesn't look too pretty for the weekend at Silverstone. So yeah, British Grand Prix is not shy of some weather, is it? So, some increment weather, shall we say? Oh, Sainz is actually saying, I think the track is getting slower due to the rise in temperature, and it is 30.7 degrees. So hotter it gets, the more likely the tyres are to slide around. That South American sponsor money. Oh, 100%. Yeah. Rumours of Carlos might go to Merc. Yeah, that's creeping back up again, as we just previously discussed. I think it'd be a great move for him. Maybe that's why he's holding out so long. Maybe he's holding out because he wants a top team, and I don't begrudge him at all for holding out for a top team. But it looked like that ship had sailed. Now maybe it looks like Mercedes might be taking a different approach and going to bring Carlos Sainz in. I don't know. I really don't know. Normally a lot of driver movements and re-signing of contracts aren't announced until the summer break, and we don't, as it's so commonly referred to, as silly season. And I think that'll be the case as well this year. So let's see. We only got 3 more weeks, I think it is. 2 more races. We have a week in between this triple header, and then we have a double header of Zandvoort and... Is it Zandvoort? No, it's Hungary and Spa, sorry. Zandvoort's the first race back after the summer break. Those are both into rally, and because of that, they seem to get along these days. Do they, though? Do they? Maybe they do, but when your sons are then back in a competitive environment, directly competing against one another. I mean, look, it was a while. To be fair, it was a while ago, but they were both together in teams, in the same team. I mean, things do change, relationships change, so. Do you think Max is happy with a punching bag for a teammate? Yes, I think he is, Dan, yeah. Yeah, I think he is. He doesn't care. He wants to win races. He doesn't care if he's got a team. Like, with respect to Max, and probably to any of those drivers out there, they don't care about the constructors. They may do for like other people, like maybe as the season goes on and they realise they can't win the drivers or whatever, but ultimately they're there to win the Drivers' World Championship. When they set out on their racing career when they were younger, it's about becoming the world champion. It's not about being the Constructors' World Champion. So, yeah, Max doesn't care about that at all. He wants someone that he can still comfortably beat. And I think Red Bull, obviously, that's a clear indication that they want to prioritise the Drivers' World Championship over the Constructors' World Championship. So, which I get, because that probably brings in more sponsors. But you've got the Driver World Champion, so more so than the Constructors. Yeah. Does anyone get on with Jos Verstappen? Good question. Good question. Christian Horner supposedly doesn't. So, no one's going to win today, Vaughan, because they don't race today. They race on Sunday, so no one's going to win today. As you can see, if someone like Lando was his teammate, they would be the new Brosadis. What's in the box, Andy? Oh, you have to wait and find out, man. You have to wait and find out. It's good. It's good stuff. Good stuff. Put it this way, there's a lot of stuff in that box, but I will not be streaming this evening. I will be unboxing it all, I'll be recording it all, and I'll be fitting it onto the rig. So I've got a busy weekend, so I'm not sure if I'll be able to actually get some like racing content out on the new stuff. But yeah, it's good, man. It's good. Because I'm still working an 8 till 5 job, Zach. I don't stream FP1. I still work for a living, so I still have a normal, boring job, shall we say, to most people. This isn't my full-time career yet. If I did this full-time, I would 100% stream FP1. So hopefully Lando Piastri can get McLaren a win this weekend. Yeah, potentially. I think a lot of people we sort of talk about Lando, understandably, because of what he's done the last few races and last weekends. And of course, he's always gone well at Silverstone, and he's British driver, and the Brits want him to do well at his home race. But don't rule out Piastri. He had a good performance last week at the Red Bull Ring. Should have been on P3 if it wasn't for the off-track. And then obviously eventually finished P2. But he could have been in that fight and capitalise on those two fighting out up front. So yeah, I think it's going to be a good weekend for Oscar as well. It really wouldn't surprise me if we see kind of a repeat of Max and Lando going at it last week. I think more so like the sprint race. It wouldn't surprise me if we see more so a repeat of the sprint race where we have Verstappen, Norris and Piastri fighting out for the win. Almost a repeat of last year, wasn't it? Because those three were up front, but the McLarens just ran out of steam and Max was able to win that race quite comfortably. Youngster may be good for Max, not good for team. They will think about this before replacement for Perez. Yeah, I mean, it depends on what they want. I mean, look, that's the thing. They're obviously not They've kept Yuki. I think they were going to let Yuki go. He was out of a contract this year. They've extended it for another year. I think they were actually going to let Yuki go, but he started off the year so well and has really progressed and shown him, and has been beating Ricciardo quite comfortably, but they've kept him on for another year. They want that option. There's still flexibility in that Red Bull team at the end of next year, with Perez's contract only being a 1+1 year deal. The fact that they've signed Yuki for one more year as well means that they're going to assess that situation at the end of next year latest. It could be even earlier that if Perez still drastically fails to perform. But yeah, hopefully Lawson, the rumours that Lawson is going to come into that seat is true, because he deserves to be an F1. So excited for me to have a wheel that won't die. I know, Andy, I know. And to have some actual force feedback. Honestly. Yeah, I'm really excited for it. I can't wait to get it all on the rig. But yeah, it'll probably take me a little while to get some content out. I'm hoping to have the content out next week. Not this weekend because of F1. We've got the watch-alongs. I've got to do the live show. Then I'm doing the podcast again Sunday as well. So yeah, not going to have much time for sim racing this weekend, unfortunately. But we will have next week, with there being no F1 next time around. But Bottas, wow, stop the count. Bottas up in P2 on the soft compound tyre. Go on, Bottas. Always gone well here, of course, at Silverstone. Has been the much clearly better performing driver out of the Stake F1 car, with Zhou Guanyu, who is still yet to be confirmed whether or not he's going to be staying at Stake F1 or whether he is going to be moving elsewhere. Lots of money. I think we'll still see Zhou on the grid, purely because of the money that he brings. Supposedly, he brings £30 million with him, with his Chinese backing. So that's a lot of money for a team to turn down or to take. So talking about youngster, what do I think of Ollie Tahas? It makes the F2 Championship look kind of silly, doesn't it? No, I don't think so. No, I think it makes... I think what it does with the F2 Championship, it doesn't necessarily make it silly, but it makes you realise that winning the F2 Championship isn't the be-all and end-all, and a lot of people put a lot of value on who is the champion, who is the F2 champion, and that. And there's more to it than just that. Even with Kimi Antonelli, it's his first year in F2, and he's already been spoken about in regards to jumping straight into F1 next year, or even this year. So there is more that teams are looking at as a benchmark to whether someone can be promoted into the F1 team than just F2. The FIA or Formula 1 would love you to believe that F2 is that natural stepping stone, but we've seen how often Formula 2 winners or like the top 3 drivers in Formula 2 don't make it into F1. So yeah, it really is more about potential than it is necessarily dominating a junior category series or of like F2 for so many years. I mean, this year's a bit different as well, of course, because they've got brand new cars. The usual teams that are competing up front aren't competing up there. It's kind of like flipped on its head in an essence, with the teams that used to be up front and at the bottom have now flipped. But yeah, I mean, Liam Lawson also said as well, he went to Super Formula for a year or for a season, and he said that F2's okay, but it's very limited in setup, it's very limited in what you can do to the car. It doesn't actually prepare you that well in F1. He goes, I went to Super Formula where literally a millimetre in ride height would affect the car, the performance of the car. I really had to... It was a steep learning curve in regards to setting up the car to gain performance. And he goes, that definitely prepared me well for F1. And I don't think I would have done as well in the limited time that I had in F1 at the end of last season if it wasn't for his experience in Super Formula. So, you think Kimi to F1 is awful? I don't think it's awful, but I think it's a gamble. But Max Verstappen was a gamble as well. There was lots of hype around Max, but he was still a gamble. He was still a driver who had no F2 experience. Came straight up from, regional Formula 3, I think it was. not even like the proper F3 series. That was still a gamble. At 18 years old, any youngster is a gamble. There's no guarantee they're going to perform well. He has the junior pedigree. He's been quite dominant in the F4 series and stuff, and he's been doing the testing. He's been doing the testing as well, and supposedly his lap times are really good in comparison to George. That's kind of a relaxed environment, though. It's not necessarily a high-pressured environment. We know, obviously, when you're in a high-pressured environment, sometimes you can't perform. Some people cream rises to the top, and they relish the pressure. Some people fold underneath it, so... But I think it's refreshing. Ollie Behrman being on the grid for next year. Look, this year, we had, for the first time ever in F1, the same driver lineup that we had the previous year. That's never happened before. And we have drivers on this grid who I think we all agree shouldn't be in F1. And it's fresh and it's nice to see some youngsters being given an opportunity in F1. Rather than people outstaying their welcome. You know? There's a limit. We're not getting an extra team anytime soon on the grid. So there's a limited amount of seats. And it's nice to see Haas give Ollie Behrman an opportunity. Look, even if Kimi does come onto the grid next year and you think it's right or wrong, how fresh is it to see two 18-year-olds going to be on the grid next year? Leclerc stopped. Leclerc is stationary at turn 6, in between turn 6 and 7. That's Brooklands there. Why is Leclerc stuck? Is there no yellow flag thrown yet? Is that a delay in... Oh, he's going again. Oh, there we go. There was a delay in the track map. What happened there? Just flew across Silverstone Circuit. Not sure what happened there, guys. Not sure what happened. You think this is George? It's not a good idea. Maybe. Fastest first sector for Lando Norris, by the way. Piastri goes fastest last time out as well, while I was chatting there. Red Bull's weakness exposed. Feel they're not the fastest car anymore. I think that's quite understandable. They're still the fastest, but they're not fast. They're not as fast as they were. That margin's definitely decreased. Definitely. And we saw last weekend the faultless pit crew of Red Bull get flustered. They made their first mistake in God knows how many years with that 8-second pit stop with Max Verstappen, and that's ultimately what brought Max into Lando's clutches. And provided us, obviously, with that late drama in Austria. But let's keep an eye on Lando. He's going fastest, first and second sector. Into the last couple of corners, into Val, as Hamilton sets the fastest last sector with a 27.2. Lando a 26.5. Ooh, 3 tenths faster than his teammate Bosch for the British driver. So, double papaya at the top of the timing sheets there, as it was in FP1. Interesting. Max, did he set a lap? He did set another lap. Most likely, the Red Bull running maybe a bit more fuel. So, Red Bull is still fastest, but not as easy to set up, I think. Yeah, I don't think so. I think that's the same as well. That's what Prix struggles with, isn't it? Can't extract the pace out of the car in regards to setup, then Max Verstappen can, so... Is there a glitch? Yeah, there was a glitch. So, yeah, 2 youngsters next to all-time rookie little Fernando Alonso. I think they said Fernando Alonso. No, Lewis Hamilton. When Lewis Hamilton made his debut in F1, Ollie Behrman was 18 months old. Max did this a while ago. Track was still green. Yeah. Yeah, he might come back out and set some faster lap times. Plus, you don't know about fuel loads as well. Some drivers run some higher fuel loads in practice, then they don't want to show their full hand in the practice sessions. Leclerc's marker, do not fear, guys. Leclerc is not struggling. His marker, unfortunately, there must be an issue probably with his sensors transferring the data back to F1. So yeah, he's the only driver we're having this issue with on the track map. So Leclerc is moving. Just a delay in the data being transferred to F1, guys. Are lap times in practice taken too seriously? Yes, some people can. I think people over time have become accustomed to, we don't know what fuel load they're running. We don't know what engine mode they're running, the battery power usage as well. there's so many different elements that drivers and teams can do to sandbag, basically. So yeah, I mean, practice is a good barometer to know if someone's struggling more so than if they're performing. It's easier. I think it's easier to see if someone's struggling than it is to see if someone is performing really well and is going to be the fastest. That is for sure. So everyone seems to be going quite nicely, to be honest with you. Russell there is on a lap at the moment, but gone slow in the middle sector. Hamilton's going slow right now. So yeah. Long runs show more RE times. Yeah, long runs are... you need to pay attention to long runs, see when people are doing multiple laps, like Magnussen did, but then he's back into the pits. And that will obviously race pace is... if they're doing like consistent lap times, you can see obviously what they might be running in the race on a certain tyre. So... no worries, Bucko. Good to see you. Do I think Ferrari will have a better weekend than last? Yes, I do. I do think that. Last weekend for Charles Leclerc, obviously unfortunate with the damage that he had in the first corner, third corner, something like that, which ruined his race. He might have been up there fighting for the podium at the end with Sainz. But yeah, Ferrari definitely fallen off a little bit, haven't made as much improvement as the other teams like the McLaren and even Mercedes. You would say Mercedes have edged past Ferrari slightly now, definitely the third fastest team. But I think what's great is, I don't think anyone expected, is how good McLaren have got. McLaren have leapfrogged Ferrari, leapfrogged Mercedes, and they're now challenging Red Bull, like consistently, have done for like the last 5 races. If Lando had done better at race starts, then potentially could have had more race wins as well in the last like 5 races. So yeah, it's good. It's great to see. Like, we didn't expect this, did we, at this stage of the season? So, hey Graham, rain incoming. Is it, Preston? I'm just looking at the TV coverage. Oh yeah, it looks dark. Looks very dark. Yeah, it might have rain before this session is out. Still 25 and a half minutes remaining. Hey Leo, good to see you. Yeah, rain will be interesting to see. It's forecast for Saturday and Sunday. I did run the poll on the channel, and it does. I think people did say that Max Verstappen will win this weekend. So, let's see. Oh, Spain are playing Germany after this as well. Interesting. I'll have to keep an eye on that. That's going to be a good game. Bit of a travesty they're both playing each other this early on in the tournament, isn't it? Community. At the moment, let's have a look. 523 votes. 47% say Verstappen. 32% say Norris. People are dissing Piastri, by the way. Only 7%, whereas Hamilton or Russell have 11%. And people completely writing off the Ferraris at 3%. But I'm surprised Piastri is that low, you know? I'm surprised he's that low. I think he's going to be... I think keep an eye out for Piastri this weekend. I think he's going to be sneaky quick. McLaren didn't leapfrog Mercedes. They moved out of the way. Probably. It's pouring down in London. And I'm just outside of London. Not wet here yet, but... Stuffey's definitely working at McLaren now. Have been good since last year. Yeah, so obviously with McLaren, they've obviously gone in the right direction. They've made a good decision at some point. I can't remember, was it last year or the year before? I think it was. They've obviously gone in 100% gone in the right direction. But they made some great personnel changes over the last couple of years. They've brought in some great, some great management personnel, a number of like obviously designers, engineers, and that, and it shows. It massively shows. So yeah, it's great to see them up top. I would love. Tell me if I'm wrong here, guys. I would love to see McLaren though drop the papaya and go back to the chrome livery, the black and chrome livery, or black and silver livery with the West. Remember the West livery or the Vodafone livery, Lewis Hamilton's livery. and Fernando Alonso. Oh, if they did that, oh, I'd love that. I'd love that. I'm not... Your papaya forever. I say I'm not a fan of papaya. I'm not a fan of the papaya. I know it's historic. I know it's like a historic colour for them, but yeah, that silver and black chrome livery, oh, it was unbelievable. So, Max and Lando or Christian and Joss? How did the young legs do in FP1? They did okay. Yeah, they did okay. Isaac Hadjar nearly caused the crash with Lando Norris. Other than that, yeah, they did pretty solid, I think. Not really too much into their times. Obviously, Ollie Behrman got some good running. He's in for like 6 different sessions this year. I think that's the second session he's in for F1 for the rookies this year. Obviously announced for next year. But yeah, Charles Leclerc is running, guys. Is running. He's just there's something wrong with the data being received. So rain coming at the end of the session is what Daniel Ricciardo was just informed. So these guys getting out there now, getting some last minute running. This may be, you never know, the last dry running they have all weekends, with the forecast looking very intermittent. A typical British weather this weekend it's looking like to be. So red, white, 80s, 90s is GOAT livery. Never saw it was my best. Yeah, I do like that as well. Yeah, the Marlboro livery, like Senna's car. That was good. The chrome and papaya last year was pure. It did look good. Yeah, it did look good. Papaya. I agree, Rory. And no, that's not my Ferrari bias talking. The West livery. The West livery was amazing. Mika Hakkinen. Oh, unreal. I need to get a poster of that, to be fair. I do need to get that one like this with Mika Hakkinen on. He's my favourite driver of all time, Mika Hakkinen. Watched him growing up. Taking it to Michael Schumacher. Some of the moves he made, his racing was amazing. Proper flying Finn he was. The first flying Finn. Do I think Ferrari might be having a Mercedes-like situation where data in the wind tunnel showed more downforce than in reality? Maybe. Rays, yeah, maybe. I mean, I haven't looked too much into it. I need to do a bit more digging on the reason why their upgrades, well, they're not upgrades now, are they? Their updates aren't translating to track performance. They brought the biggest upgrade package in Barcelona. I think it was like 7 different parts. That's what Haas have done this weekend, by the way, guys, as well. And they were slower, weren't they? Or slower than Mercedes and McLaren and Red Bull, quite comfortably. So definitely didn't have the desired effect. So we'll see. Yeah, we'll see. I mean, Fred Vasseur doesn't seem to be too worried. So he's not really airing any like caution or any like stress. I know he's a bit chill. I know he's like a pretty chilled, laid back guy anyway, but he's really like, yeah, everything's going fine. Like you don't feel like he's lying either. So yeah, we'll see. We'll see with Ferrari, but they've definitely, maybe they haven't taken a step back. I just don't think their upgrades have had as much of a performance gain as they were expecting, and obviously compared to the likes of Mercedes and McLaren. So yeah, an interesting one there. They'll never go back to tobacco colours fully. Yes, exactly, Matt. Yeah, they'll never do that. Do I remember the 2022 British race? I do, Leo. I do. They had F1 has a really good video at the moment, guys, on their channel, and I hope they do this for more races throughout the year, or historical races, historic racetracks. They've got an hour of intense moments at the British Grand Prix, Silverstone. And it's a great watch. If you've got nothing to watch, kill an hour. Goes all the way back to like Senna's days and that. Him fighting Prost. And it's really good. It's a really good watch. And I hope they do the same when they head to Monza and Spa and other racetracks where they've consistently been going to for years. It was a really good video, that. Raining 12 minutes. Well, we only have 18 minutes remaining. So, yeah, these drivers not going to get a lot. We'll see if be interested to see if anyone risks going out there in the rain. If they see it viable to go out there even for like, if it's 12 minutes time, then that's going to be 6 minutes remaining. I wonder if anyone will go out there. It's a great watch. Yeah, I liked it. So Verstappen's on a lap. He Yeah, Verstappen's out there. So he's now doing some long runs, guys. As we was chatting earlier, you've got Leclerc out there doing long runs. You've got Norris out there doing long runs as well. So you want to have a look at their last laps and compare them to the others. So you can see Norris there, a 31.6, which is pretty good, compared to Verstappen's 32.0. Piastri doing a 32.0 as well. Who else we got out there doing long runs at the moment on similar tyres? Fernando Alonso, he's doing 33s. Aston Martin looks struggling recently, hasn't it? Albon, well, don't take his last lap into too much consideration. So Leclerc's doing 32.4s as well. Piastri just did a 32.4. Lando, is he putting a lot out of his tyres at the moment? Let's just look at his last lap. He's 3 tenths faster than Piastri in the first sector and Verstappen as well. So Norris just taking a bit more out of the first sector on these long runs than Charles Leclerc, Piastri and Verstappen at the moment. So 29.5 for Norris this time out. So yeah, Norris he's on the older tyres and he's seems to be a bit quicker in that McLaren for the first sector than the remainder of the lap compared to the Red Bull and his teammate Piastri. This is the long runs at the moment. You definitely say that it's definitely looking again to be Norris and Verstappen if you're looking at his long run times. We'll see what Piastri does this time out as well. See if he can get that down to like a 32. That's not working. Hang on. Mansell winning his first British GP was the first race he ever watched. Ah, cool. What year was that? Lord, what year was that? I can't remember. Before Luis Montoya was definitely... Oh, Montoya was great. Yeah, Pablo Montoya was also good as well. Yeah, Montoya was exceptional. He got too... He ended up getting annoyed, didn't he, with the politics of F1, and he just went, Sodja, I'm going. So yeah, a bit hot-headed, but it's a shame he didn't stick around in F1 a lot longer. But yeah, he just got fed up of all the politics. So Haas have got 7 upgrades this weekend, Chazza. Yeah, they've got a lot, 7 or 8 upgrades. They've done a Ferrari basically. Might be worth a feel for some teams on what a wet track is like. Yeah, I think so. I think a couple of teams will go out there and try it out on a track that's getting wetter. But we've seen. I mean, what is the weather? I mean, British weather changes constantly. So, what the weather says today, it will probably change again when you look tomorrow, and change again of the morning of as well. Let's have a look. So Saturday is... so when qualifying starts tomorrow, it would have rained all morning. So it might be a wet to drying track tomorrow in qualifying. So that'll be interesting. And then Sunday is thunderstorms and rain. So yeah, Sunday's going to be interesting, guys. Very interesting. Max is faster than Norris on the medium. A 32.1 last time out. Not at the moment. No, they're pretty neck and neck. Lando did take a bit more out of those tyres. Well, Lando a few laps ago was doing 31s, 31.7s, 31.8s, and Max has just been constantly doing around 31.9 to 32.1 at the moment. So they're looking pretty neck and neck with their long runs. You can see there Carlos Sainz doing 32s as well. But a circuit like this, it's also not necessarily about the lap time. It's about the degradation. It's a high deg circuit, a lot of load put through the tyres, high energy circuit. There's a lot of fast, high downforce corners. And yeah, it all depends on how much how long your tyres can last for as well. So yeah. Obviously, they're setting their laps at the moment, which are pretty consistent. But how much of that tyre life have they got remaining at this stage? And that's something that we're not really going to know. So You got to favour Max in the wet. I disagree, actually. I think Norris is a great driver in the wet. Norris is very good in the wet. I think we'll still get a good race between Max and Norris if it rains on Sunday. Lando's had some great performances in the wet over the years, and I think that's kind of a bit of his driving that's gone under the radar, to be honest with you. We know Max is good in the wet. We know Lewis is good in the wet. Those sort of drivers. I mean, if you want a Lewis Hamilton win this weekend and you want to see Lewis Hamilton do well, a wet race might be the only opportunity for him to perform well. Obviously, he always goes very well at Silverstone, but doesn't really have the pace in that Mercedes at the moment or the confidence in it. But in the wet, as we saw in China with that sprint quali, he might have an opportunity of at least finishing on the podium. I think even in the wet, the McLaren and the Red Bull of Max and Lando would be quickest. But yeah, that could be Hamilton's opportunity of getting on the podium this weekend is through that wet race, essentially, or wet conditions. How is Mercedes' long run pace looking? 31.9. I mean, they're all doing similar lap times by the looks of it. Hamilton's on the softs, actually, which is interesting. Hamilton's on the softs going long. So Merc probably wanting to save a set of mediums, potentially for Sunday as well. But he's on long runs. I mean, they're all doing like similar times. So that last time out, so Max did a slow lap the one before, which was a 33 something, and then he's just responded with a 31.6. We've got Piastri doing consistent 32s, low 32s. We've got Norris kind of yo-yoing a bit from around 137 to 132. Russell there of 32.0 as well. So Sainz looks quite good. Sainz and Leclerc's pace doesn't look too bad on the mediums as well. I feel Norris may want payback for last week. Whoa, yeah, he'll definitely be wanting to win it, won't he? Russell 21 was the wrong tyre, not exactly the same thing. Yeah, exactly. Who do I think is going to win the British Grand Prix? Well, we've said this. We've had this discussion. I am back in Lando. I'm back in Lando. I think it's going to be another close race again. And look, that's all I can ask for, is continued close racing, which is what we've seen over the last 5 races. So probably come back from Checo on Sunday. We'll see. We'll see. I mean, P3 at the moment, but look, qualifying is so tight at the moment. Yeah. Hulk P4 is crazy. Yeah, but I wouldn't take too much into consideration of where the drivers are at the moment. They've all run different fuel loads. They haven't gone out there and done proper quali laps either. That will probably be withheld for tomorrow. So yeah, they're all doing their long runs now. The rain is about to arrive in about a couple of minutes, supposedly. So yeah, they're just data gathering at the moment. Haas is always strong on a cold track. Well, Magnussen isn't, is he? I guess good lead, but something brings him back to get there for a close race towards the end. Yeah, I mean, look, there's obviously an area Norris needs to improve as his race starts. Because if Max lines up alongside him, the way it's been going recently, Max will either lead into the first corner or he'll be well alongside. Whereas Norris, when he started second, he hasn't been able to get up alongside Max, has he? So not now, Acano. Sorry, in FP3 they will, yeah. Not in FP2. So, I mean, they may do, they may not. I mean, I don't think anyone's really done any quality sims. Tomorrow, looking at it, it's going to be raining for FP3. So that's what the forecast states at the moment. So they might not even get to do any quality sims. Maybe that's why they're not doing any quality sims right now. It's because they think it's worthless. It's just wasting the tyre because it's going to dry out tomorrow. It's going to be a wet qualifying tomorrow. So what were the quality times last year, Matt? Good question. So on average, this year, the cars are about a second faster, guys. That is what I have seen. So let's have a look and check what they were last year. Results 2023. Great Britain. And then qualifying. Pole position last year by Max Verstappen was a 26.7. Lando Norris did a 26.9. So we're already quicker. Norris's lap that he set in FP2, fastest, is already quicker than pole position last year by 2 tenths. And then Oscar Piastri is already quicker with his best lap than his third place position he was last year. So yeah, the cars are a lot quicker this year, and no doubt it'll be probably over a second faster when it comes to qualifying tomorrow as well. Was it damp last year? No. Qualifying was drier, I think it was. I think it was. I can't remember. No, McLaren didn't overperform last year. Well, they did overperform, but they brought a big upgrade package, didn't they? And everyone was like, oh my God, they're actually going to have an opportunity of taking it to max. So, they're all on flying laps now. They're all just not doing their long runs. The rain is due any minute, supposedly. It's looking a little bit dark at Silverstone. So, yeah. They're just doing their long runs, gathering their data. Lando's 21 laps on the mediums now. 32s. There you go. Track surface slippery in sector 17. So the rain is coming in from corner 17, guys. From the start to finish line. That's where it was earlier on as well in into Formula 2 qualifying, I think it was, that I saw. So, but only 5 minutes, 6 minutes remaining anyway. British weather in the summer. Yeah, Kian. Yeah. It's either scorching or it's raining. There's no in between. There's no comfortable weather in England. It's one or the other. Am I going to the race on Sunday? Unfortunately not. No, it's a bit too expensive for me to go to the race or to go Saturday or Sunday. So I'll be doing the watch along here instead for you guys. So that's the benefit of me not going to the race on Sunday. It's never scorching. It has, as summers have been previously, Matt. They have been previously. It's just practice. Yeah, it's not a practice race. It's just practice. So yeah, wet track now. So drivers will be coming into the pit lane to either finish for the day or they'll be sticking on a set of intermediate tyres. So we'll see if anyone decides to give it a go at the end of this session with only 5 minutes remaining. Maybe they will, maybe they won't. So potentially rain tomorrow, of course. That's what the forecast is stating. Unless, most definitely, it looks like for FP3 and potentially for qualifying in the afternoon. And then on Sunday, the weather doesn't look good at all. So, yeah. It's raining, Chazza. It's raining. Free passes won't show up for me on F1 TV Pro. Do you know why? I don't know, Ruben. No, I'm not entirely sure of that. Not entirely sure. Might be because of the country you're in, potentially. So, I don't do F1 career mode. No, the F1 games aren't really my kind of thing. I'm more an iRacing. That's what I do. The sim that Max Verstappen races a lot. I've raced against Kimi Antonelli. I've raced against a number of the F2 drivers, actually. I haven't raced against Lando or Max. I've been in lobbies with them. So Mick Schumacher I've raced against, Antonio Giovinazzi. There's a number of other real life drivers as well, IndyCar drivers that you see on there. So yeah, it's cool. So Verstappen will have to take a new engine at some points in the remainder of the season, and he's on his last engine at the moment. You only get an allocation of 3 engines, and then over that you have to take a 10-place grid penalty. So yeah, he will at some point have to take a 10-place grid penalty with a brand new engine. So we'll see when that happens. Is it going to be Spa again? That's normally the race that we see drivers take new engines because it's a very high-powered circuit. You're on full throttle for around 70% of the circuit. So, yeah. Oh, Lewis Hamilton saying the track is fine. I'm just slow, as he is in P6 at the moment. So, but he was on the softs. He was doing long runs on the softs. Interesting Sainz is still out there. What tyre is he on? Sainz is on medium still. So, thank you for the sub there, Lily. Yes, anyone, if you are enjoying this stream and you're enjoying these chats, we'll be back all over this weekend for FP3 qualifying and the race on Sunday. And of course, I do my own sim racing content as well. And we've just got a new partner for the channel, a big partner for the channel, and I can't wait to announce it to you all. So I've got some goodies to unpack after this stream, so I can't wait. The game is called iRacing. You don't race against Antonelli, you simply outlast him. That is true, Andy. That is true. He tried to ram me off of the circuit, the little bugger. But that backfired, didn't it? That backfired against him. So I don't do FP1 because I still work full-time, Chazza. Like, this isn't my full-time job. So I have a normal job. And yeah, during the day, 8 till 5, apart from Fridays generally, I'm still working. So yeah, I can't do FP1 because it's right in the middle of my day, my working day. In the future, I'll be able to do FP1 because this will be my full-time job one day. You heard it here first. So no one going out for a last couple of sighting laps on the wet or intermediate tyres, it seems. Drivers just waiting it out, it looks like, with only a minute and just over a minute and a half remaining, guys. What have other drivers done with their engines? I'm not sure what the allocation is, Leo. I'm sure that information's available somewhere. It's the same with like new batteries and stuff as well. Gearboxes, they all have a certain allocation that they can use throughout the year. If they go over that, then they receive a grid place penalty. I think Charles Leclerc is quite close to receiving a grid place penalty for a new battery unit or something, a new ERS unit. He's had a few already. So yeah, it's normally a given at some point in the year that drivers will have to take a penalty. Perez going out for a sighting lap at the end. Interesting. And George Russell as well. Go on, the boys, go on. The board on the left should be a bit bigger. It's already big enough. Do I like the Red Bull livery for Silverstone? I don't know. I feel like it's a bit half-hearted. I get why they probably didn't go all red because of, like, that's too Ferrari-ish, but it's like what Ferrari did with their livery, with the blue lines. Like, don't tease us. Go all in or nothing. Don't just go in there for, like, go all blue or nothing, you know? So I'm not a fan of, like, these half-hearted liveries. I'm like, all or nothing. So like McLaren did with the Senna livery. That was all or nothing. Brilliant. Love it. More of that, please. So drivers coming out for the intermediates, you may be thinking, why are they coming out for the intermediates when the checkered flag has been thrown? Well, that is because they still get to do a standing start. So there's potential, of course, that they may be starting on the intermediate tyre come Sunday. So yeah, it's all just a bit of experience in regards to starting from the grid. So can I add sector times in the top right? We have sector times here. I don't have the best lap sector times, but I have the sector 1, 2, and 3 here of the last lap. We can have a look at fastest sector times afterwards, though, which I will show you, which is here. We'll have an analysis of that just after the drivers have come round, though. So, enjoyed my race with Kimi, sim racing, Max Verstappen. McLaren Senna livery wasn't half-hearted. No, it wasn't. It wasn't at all, and I liked it. Well, it wasn't my favourite, but I liked it, though. Like, it was... That's what you do. Don't tease us with a little bit of yellow and a little bit of green. They went all in, so... why is Mercedes slow? They're not overall slow. I wouldn't take too much consideration into the gaps here, guys. It's FP2. They've mainly been focusing on their long runs, gathering their data, still dialing in setups. Tomorrow... I mean, I don't know. This could all be kind of not irrelevant, but not as important because we might not see dry conditions now for the remainder of the weekend. That's what the forecast is showing us. So, did I enjoy killing? I was gutted about that because I was looking for. I always enjoy watching. When I know someone's like streaming, I always enjoy going, and I'm in the same race as them, I always enjoy going back and watching the race from their perspective where I'm involved. Like, obviously I create videos and stream myself, but it's always cool to see that. So I did do that with Tony's, and I know he did the same with me. He commented on my stream. So yeah, it's always pretty cool. But I'm gutted I made that mistake. I just held onto the brakes a touch too long, and on that inside line, and yeah, I just sent the car into spin. I think I downshifted a bit too quickly as well, and I think that's what sent the rear round. I don't think it was a lock-up. I think I downshifted too quickly, and the revs are too high, and I went round into the side of him. So I was gutted about that. I was gutted, but they have a floor upgrade here this weekend, Kian. I don't think they have anything else, but they definitely have a floor upgrade. Will I stream on Twitch? I am planning on streaming on Twitch more. Yes, Naz. I didn't stream the last couple of streams on Twitch because I didn't have a lot of time to set things up. But yeah, I do predominantly stream on YouTube, and I do multi-stream on Twitch as well. I'm not doing that right now. Don't really do it with the watch-alongs, but yeah, sim racing I do. So thanks, guys. Yeah, right. Let's have a look at sector times as drivers are coming around to do a standing start. But let's have a look at the sector times as it stands at the moment. And, well, let's show Magnussen, actually. We've got the top 20 here. As you can see, Lando Norris is top 111 in sector 1, 2, and 3. Hulkenberg up there quite quick in the second sector. Verstappen, 3 attempts back in P9, but a bit closer in the middle sector. But he didn't really set his fastest lap early on in the session, not at the end of the session when the track was a bit more rubbered in. So, yeah, Hamilton there, P6 in the middle sector. The two Mercedes very slow in the first sector there, so maybe not pushing as hard through the first couple of corners. Very slow in the first sector, actually. 15 and 16, that's quite a way off, even if they're running maybe a bit more fuel. But they recover it, of course, in the second and third sector. So, yeah, that's it at the moment. Not really too much to take into consideration there with these sector times because no one really did proper push laps. So they all set them at different times as well. Then they bedded into their long runs. So, which always kind of happens in FP2. So, yeah, we'll see. But qualifying tomorrow, FP3 tomorrow. And, yeah, could be wet. Could be wet. Norris got to win this one. Yeah, I agree. I think we're going to see Lando and Verstappen. I think it's going to be Lando, Piastri, and Verstappen, top 3 again, fighting it out. And then it's like best of the rest. Hamilton, of course, will be hoping for a wet race so that he can capitalise on that experience he's got and of driving in the rain. That could throw up a bit of a different result, but yeah. Verstappen was only slow in Sector 1, really. Yeah, I mean, he's a 10th and a bit. He's a full 10th off in Sector 3. As I said, like I wouldn't take too much into that. All right, Lando's the only one who looked like I think he set his lap time very later in the session as well compared to Verstappen. So we know when it comes qualifying, the usual suspects will be fighting it out for pole position. So, and Norris will bottle it again. Well, look. The more he puts himself into those positions, the more experience he's going to gain, and the more he's going to learn from mistakes, and the more he's going to learn from fighting Max Verstappen. So, yeah, all you can do is keep putting yourself in those situations and learning from them, and then hopefully dealing with it. Imagine we get another plot twist this time. I know. Well, look, Silverstone always throws up a cracking race. It's one of the few circuits on the calendar, but I think very rarely throws up boring races. It's always intriguing, and there's always something happening. So, yeah, really excited for it, and especially if we've got rain this weekend, we know how that always throws a spanner in the works. Because it wasn't a race ban incident optimized. It wasn't worthy of a race ban. No, the 10 seconds is what he got issued the penalty for. And look, even the moving under braking wasn't a race ban. What's the right word? Incident. I don't know exactly the word I'm looking for. But yeah, none of that was worthy of race bans. So a race ban would only be, of course, if you've got too many points on your super license, which Magnussen is only, I think, 3 away from, or 1 more incident from, or if you properly intentionally took someone out. They're the only things that I could think constitutes a race ban, and Max did none of those last weekend. So yeah. Hamilton pulls a sneaky Russell waiting move, yeah. I mean, even if Max won, at least the race would be closer. Yeah, that's what we want, is close racing. Just want to see close racing. And look, we got that last weekend. Don't want to dwell on it too much last weekend, but we got that last weekend. We got close racing. But in my opinion, as I've stated a few times, Max crossed that line of what was fair in moving in the braking zone. And yeah, if there was an issue, if there was a warning issued straight up, I think we would have had that battle. Max would have known straight away, okay, I can't do that anymore. I can't get away with it. It's being looked at. They're keeping an eye on it. And we could have seen a much fairer fight go on to the end of the race itself. I think we still had like 7 laps remaining at that point when they crashed, or 5 laps remaining. So yeah, it kind of robbed us eventually of a battle that could have gone on even longer. Who would have come out on top? I don't know. But yeah, that's what we want. I want to see battles go on for multiple corners and go on for multiple laps. And yeah, unfortunately, we didn't get to see that last weekend. That's kind of where all my criticism comes from. And yeah, Lando's moves down the inside is only what he's allowed to do as per the regulations, which Max has made built his reputation on doing. So yeah, at some point, you're gonna have to expect that someone else deploys the same tactics against you. So don't be upset when that happens. And as Zach Brown said it quite easily, was very spot on earlier on. He said, look, I don't blame Max. Max is driving the way that he is allowed to do, allowed to get away with. I don't agree with it, but he's allowed to do it. So why wouldn't he do it? And it's down to the stewards and race control to clamp down on that. And until they do, yeah, their racing drivers are going to look for every single advantage that they can. So doesn't mean that we have to like it as fans of the sport and as viewers of the sport. So should ask Charles and Lewis how to race Max. I think he'll learn. Lando's learning every single time he goes wheel to wheel with Max. Obviously we had Spain. Obviously he was 2 over the edge there and pushed him onto the grass. Lucky not to get away with a penalty there. And then yeah, obviously in Red Bull Ring as well. So I'm looking forward to their fights in the future. I'm looking forward to it. Will tomorrow be hammer time? Only if it's raining, I think. Unfortunately, Stoic. I'm a positive guy about Hamilton, but yeah, I think that's only going to be if there's rain. So that Merc still doesn't have enough performance to fight outright with the McLaren and the Red Bull. No way, Max. Don't read too much into it. Yeet. It's practice. It's practice. Max set his lap time very early on in a session where it was quite cool, and yeah, the track wasn't quite as rubbed in. So don't read too much into it. Tomorrow is where it matters. So McLaren faster than Red Bull. Verstappen just the better driver. I think they were the faster car at Spain. They definitely weren't the faster car at Red Bull Ring. Red Bull was. Max got brought into Lando's clutches because of the bad pit stops and stuff, and then he had a big lock up, didn't he, down into turn 4 while he was under pressure because he knew Lando made up so much time, and then he was on slightly older tyres, so that's what brought him in. Max is definitely the difference in that Red Bull at the moment, of course, compared to the McLarens, even when it hasn't been at its best. At Imola, where's the other one? They weren't so great. Monaco as well. Of course, no one overtook at Monaco. But when you compare it to obviously what any other driver potentially would get out of that Red Bull, i.e. Perez's performances, yeah, he's definitely the difference at the moment. So, is Lando good in the rain? He is optimised. Yeah, he is. Yeah. What do you think about the bad pit stop time by Red Bull in Austria? It is what it is. Look, sometimes they have bad pit stops. Apparently, one of the nuts of the left rear didn't go on. So that can happen to anyone. I don't think it was a particular mistake. I think it might have been a fault with the gun or a fault with the nut. You don't know. But it's the first time, I think, in 3 years since the new regs that Red Bull, or even 2021, I think, so about 3 years, that Red Bull's pit stop crew have made like a pit stop that long. Someone would have looked back at all the pit stops they've done, but I'm pretty sure of it. Their pit stop crew is faultless. No one could ever make up time in the pit stops, and yet this time around, that is what brought Lando into Max's clutches. So, yeah, I don't think so much it was the pressure, because he had at that time like a 7-second lead, an 8-second lead over Max, over Lando, and I still don't think Lando would have. He may have caught him at the end. It would have been like we saw at Spain, where he was chasing him down, like we saw at Imola, Lando chasing him down once again, but this time he was through that poor mistake in the pit box. He was brought together with Lando, which thankfully, thank you Red Bull crew, because if it wasn't for that, we wouldn't have got the drama that we had and the fight in between them two. I do think they've made a good decision in signing Ollie. Yeah, I think he's a good driver. Oh, look, it's fresh. It's Hulkenberg's moving on. Magnussen sounds like he's moving on as well. It's good to see drivers, young drivers, being given an actual opportunity in F1. That's what we want. We want fresh blood on the grid rather than the same old faces. The drivers who we don't think deserve an opportunity anyway, or have had their opportunity and haven't taken it. And look, Ollie was very good in that Ferrari performance at Saudi, and I think he was good last year in F2. So he's definitely got the racing chops, and yeah, I think he'll be good for Haas. So Mick Schumacher, he's okay. Do I think he deserves another opportunity in F1? Maybe. I wouldn't be upset if Mick Schumacher was on the grid, say next year or in the coming years. But I also wouldn't be. I'm also not gunning for him to be on the grid either. The reason why I say that is because look, he was only in Haas, and the Haas car was for 1 year absolutely useless. He was alongside Mazepin, and then he was in a very toxic environment, I think, at Haas. All you have to do is look at Drive to Survive, and it's quite obvious that they only saw him there because of his sponsorship money that he brought. And they were so conflicting with the information that they gave him. It was like, oh, you need to go quicker, but then don't crash the car and do this. And it's like, okay, well, what do I do? Like, can I drive quick? Can I try and push this car to the limit? That's a bit more difficult to control. And but then you're telling me don't crash the car because we're on a limited budget and all this and stuff. And there were some incidences that were really like the Monaco incident. That car should not have split in half the way it did. Like we've seen people crash there before, and people have only lost like front wings or done the side of their car in. I mean, that's split in half. That's not like that's the result of that crash is not necessarily Mick Schumacher's fault. Yes, he crashed. That's his fault. But like the result of it is due to obviously the poor car that they've created. And then Magnussen came back in, and it was like the prodigal son had returned. So, yeah, I think he probably deserves another opportunity, but I'm also not gunning for him to be on the grid either. But if he returns on the grid in some capacity at some point, wherever it is, good luck to him, and I wouldn't be sad to see him on the grid. So I wouldn't be upset and going, why is he back on the grid, you know? Honestly, half the grid should move on to another chapter in their lives. Yeah, look, the thing is, the issue we've got now, work, is that we've got... I say it's not like football, but we've got drivers, of course, that are there for monetary reasons, and we've got the advancement of sports science as well, where drivers are lasting longer. But mostly it comes down to money. Drivers are stuck... drivers who underperform stay around longer than they should do because they bring a shed load of cash. And that's a lot of cash to lose off of the bank balance if certain drivers go. So, but there comes a point where you have to say, well, look, if we want to move forward, if we want to attract more sponsors, we're better off having better drivers to move ourselves up the grid and perform better. That's the best way for the team to make money in the long run. But in the short term, yeah, bringing someone in who's going to bring you 20 million quid instantly is always very enticing, isn't it? So we don't think so. We said that earlier, but I think he may go. Supposedly, the Mercedes rumors are picking back up again. I don't know. I really don't know with signs. There's so many like teams he could. It's either going to be Audi, Alpine, Williams, or potentially Mercedes. Mercedes have cropped back up again. Who knows? Who knows? Extended Perez's contract. Yeah, look, we've mentioned it numerous times as well. Perez has been kept because of keeping Max happy and because of the shed load of cash he brings in with sponsors, merchandise, and he's one of the most popular drivers in F1. So I saw he was off to Alpine earlier. Yeah, I don't know, Mike. He's got an offer for Audi, an offer for Alpine, an offer from Williams. I still think he's potentially hanging out for the Mercedes seat. I don't think they're still, by the sounds of it, entirely set on Kimi Antonelli. I don't know. No idea. No idea. Yeah, Ricciardo is now being the strong. In that, Ricciardo's now the stronger link to Williams than Sainz is. So who knows? Who knows? But yeah, guys, that is it from me. That is end of FP2. Norris and Piastri once again topping the timing sheets. McLaren are normally quite coy when it comes to practice, and they don't show their hand in the practice sessions, but they have topped both the timing sheets in both sessions with Norris and Piastri. So as expected, we did think McLaren would be strong here at Silverstone, but the weekend is forecast from rain, so this could completely flip on its head. So let's see what the British weather has in store for us over the weekend with FP3 tomorrow and qualifying and then the race on Sunday. So I'll be live for those. I did get my parcel. Mike, if you join the Discord, you'll see the size of that parcel. I'm going to, yes, after this, well, I'm going to go watch the Spain-Germany game, I think, and have a couple of drinky poos while I watch that. So yeah, I'm not going to be streaming tonight. I'd love to redeem myself after last night's performance, but yes, I'm going to go and set up. I need to find a way to do some unboxing videos, so I need to figure out where I'm going to do that. And yeah, it's probably won't find out over the course of this weekend what I've got, but start of next week you probably will, because I'm busy with F1 stuff this weekend. I'm busy with the podcast with Miss Apex. So yeah, favorite football player definitely Sainz. But yes, guys, have a lovely rest of your Friday evening, and we will see you tomorrow morning for the FP3 session. Please, what's happening with Ferrari? Are also driving the same cars? I believe they are now. I think they've both got the upgrades on their cars now. Acano. So their long runs looked okay. So Mike, by the way, have you noticed I've welcome to the mod crew? So you said you would, and I've added you, buddy. So yeah, big thank you, man. Obviously we had some issues last night. Thankfully the missus was around, but yeah, I hope you don't mind there, buddy. So, you have power! Black Taco does now as well. But yeah, no, have a lovely rest of your Friday evening, guys. I will catch up with you tomorrow for FP3. That stream is going to be set up straight after this, so you can go and bookmark that for tomorrow. Be sure to turn your notifications on, and if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button. So yes, let's see what the weather has in store for us when we wake up tomorrow morning, eh? No Long Beach, Pazzo. No, I'm not doing it. And on that note, see you later. Bye.